Everyone. Good evening and welcome to the 25th anniversary of Theatre of Eternal Values. We welcome you from all over the world.
Good evening to everyone, and we are overwhelmed to be celebrating these special moments all together.
And just to make clear why this is such an important event for us, because we believe that Theatre of Eternal Values must be shared with the whole world and with many, many people who also practice yoga and meditation, because Theatre of Eternal Values history is unique in this sense, because it was created by the foremost spiritual personality of our times and of all times, Her Holiness Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi. And we begin the evening with a talk by her where she expresses the guiding principles to which we have looked at in order to produce our many productions and have inspired many of our events. And so, without further ado, Alessandro, please, can we begin with Sri Mataji's talk on art?
When we belong to God, what is there to fear? We forget everything in the divinity, and we become completely lost in God. When we belong to God, what is there to fear?
Because as I told you the other day, whatever is absolutely beautiful you think has nothing in it but has vibrations. It has a coefficient which gives you vibrations. Like Mona Lisa now. We like her Mona Lisa. According to modern standards, she cannot be a beauty because she was a very plump lady, an elderly lady. But today also if you go there, you cannot see her painting. It's so crowded. Everybody is anxious to see Mona Lisa. And if you go and feel the vibrations from distance, you'll get vibrations from. Because the coefficients of her body, face and everything is made so well that you get the vibrations. Now people are very anxious to create new ideas, new type of things and this, but these things do not sell. And even if they sell temporarily, they have no eternal values. So the people with this chakra, enlightened, start creating things of very eternal values, of universal values. Anywhere you take such a thing, you take it to India, you take it to China, you take it to Japan, or you take it to America, anywhere, any human being who sees that, sees the beauty of the spirit, because it gives you joy in your spirit. So the pure art is produced through. That's the purity, or I would say the holy art is produced through. When you start producing that holy art, then you should believe that you have got an enlightenment on that chakra.
So we start this beautiful journey. We start the celebration of our 3 days festival together. And we would like to start these beautiful stories with you, with the origin of this company, of Theatre of Eternal Values. And I would like Victor Vertuni, that was there at the moment of the creation, to tell us about the beautiful beginning, the beautiful story of the creation of Theatre of Eternal Values.
It was indeed beautiful, as this room that we are in virtually suggests, because this is exactly the location where Theatre of Eternal Values was born, in Sri Mataji's reception room in Cabela Ligure, which is also the world headquarters, the world center of Sahaja Yoga that she founded. And principally, we were living there as her disciples with our young families. We commuted to Milan, and we also hosted, many events were hosted in the facilities, many international events in which theatre featured as part of the entertainment programs that accompanied these spiritual moments of collective meditations and international interaction. And it so happened that we were quite involved in that at the time. And it was 1995, after Sri Mataji had come to live in Italy and Cabela Ligure had become her European pied-à-terre, or her residence, let's say, for her many tours. She came and spent about 6 months of the year. And really the activity there was, it was a roller coaster of activity, from the restoration of the palace, but also when it came to actually decorating her palace, she commissioned artworks. And it was on that occasion when Sri Mataji had asked to view some of the paintings that she had purchased to decorate her walls that we found ourselves before her, and in between commenting on largely these naturalistic paintings she had bought from a local artist.
Because if I can say that Sri Mataji was always supporting very much the arts and the artists. So wherever she was going, she would actually find the artists of that country and support them by buying the arts. And so she was surrounded by beautiful art pieces. Sorry to interrupt.
No, exactly. And yes, at a certain point, she said to me, "Why don't you form a theatre company?" And at that point, I wondered if she meant a group that would perform in these international events that we call pujas, or let's say seminars, yoga seminars. And I asked her, and she said a professional theatre company. She was very, very clear that it should be a professional theatre company with all aspects of theatre practiced to the highest professional levels. And she listed all the different departments, you know, from the actors to the writers, scene designers, musicians, costume makers, and all the and also the music, and in every field. And then, of course, a thought occurred to me: how would it be financed? Of course, I didn't give it voice, but she evidently had read my mind, and she responded in the following way. She was talking about the artworks, and she was saying, she suddenly turned to a painting and she said, "These artists, you know, throughout the ages, have given their lives and dedicated themselves to create works that would inspire people and transmit values, and creating great works of beauty at great pains and often with very little reward." And she showed compassion very in that moment for artists. She mentioned that so many had created masterpieces that hadn't been appreciated in their own lifetimes, and they had passed away in impoverished attics, cold garrets, she said, cold garrets, while somebody later on sold them and made a lot of money. But she said, no longer. This would no longer be the case.
Victor, can I ask you, how did the name came?
The name? Well,
Theatre of Eternal Values, it's a big name. So how was it created, this name?
Well, she said, you must think of a name for it. And I invited her to give it a name. And she said, well, go away and think, go and think about it and come back to me with some suggestions. And, after a few days, it was a period in which we were blessed to see Sri Mataji quite frequently because there was a lot of work going on. We were always involved in various tasks. As far as that was concerned, the castle was a hive of activity, not just for us, but for many, many, dozens of yogis around the place. And a couple of days later, I was before her again, and she asked me if I'd come up with anything. And the best I could do was Satya Yuga theatre, theatre of the new age.
Of the new age, yeah.
And she said, well, that wouldn't really work very well. It wouldn't really have an appeal. So I was relieved, actually. And I asked Mother again, I invited her to give it a name. And she said, well, what about theatre of universal truth? Actually, before that, she'd also mentioned, she'd read a book recently called The Warriors of Peace, I believe. So she thought, she came up with, peace warriors, warriors of peace. No, people might get the wrong idea. And then theatre, it has to have theatre in it, theatre of universal truth, of universal values, theatre of eternal values. And that's how it came about. That was its name. We registered it as an association within a few months, in April the following year in Ghent in Belgium. Now, Sri Mataji kept on and continued giving her guidance and saying, you have to choose a play. She said, you have to bring people together from different countries. There are many talents in Sahaja Yoga. Sahaja Yoga, not a particular country, but Sahaja Yoga meaning the Sangha.
Worldwide.
The worldwide family.
Yes.
And so immediately I was on the phone calling people. I mean, and the word got around, and suddenly people were calling me.
Yeah, of
course, which is a nice thing.
The movement started to, to get that wave of energy. And what about the first production? Did Sri Mataji chose the first production?
Before the first production, we had this seminar in Ghent in a barn, and over 25 artists came from all over the world, literally all over Europe and America. Later on, we were joined by actors from South Africa when we were in India, from India, and many other countries. But initially, that was the first group, and we workshopped and we did all the kind of things that actors do. And you'll see some of that tonight in the video. And of course, we talked about the play, and we couldn't decide, or I went back to Sri Mataji, and of course, Mother, she would say, well, have you chosen a play yet? And somebody mentioned Molière, and Mother said, oh, good choice. He was such a great realized soul, a very enlightened being. And she mentioned a few titles, and The Imaginary Invalid became the play that she recommended, she suggested, and really we immediately started work. It was like the association was formed in April. We had our first seminar in May. We were rehearsing already in August. We weren't quite sure where we were going to go on tour yet. But we went back to the barn and we rehearsed for a month. And then we were on tour in September. And I think that year we went to France, Czech Republic, Switzerland, Germany, an autumn tour, followed very excitingly by a journey to India,
Wow.
a tour of India.
Well, it's quite incredible. Things just started moving so fast and got so many people involved in this and with such an enthusiasm. And what we would like to do tonight is really to bring you along this journey with the protagonists of this first adventure, their stories, their experience, and also part and a sparkle of this amazing show that came out from this first beginning. And also we could manage to bring almost everyone along in this documentary. that there are some of the protagonists of our traveling companion or travel companions somehow, that they're not there, that they're still very much in our heart, and we feel very dear because we exchange all this beautiful experience, that they're not in the documentary. So we would like to thank publicly Catherine Gruyère, our first director, and then Tillman, and then Karuna, and then help me out. Carlo, and then who else is not there?
Philippe Chignon.
Philippe Chignon, Didier Lamotte, our beautiful musicians. So they are not yet in those documentary in the interview, but they will be there.
But as theatre, typically theatre is an ensemble activity. And it's also embodied, it's transmitted through our bodies and our voices. So there won't be many graphics, but there will be a lot of images and a lot of stories. Theatre also has many protagonists, people in many roles, and you will hear actors, composers, you will hear scene designers, costume makers, and members of the audience talking about the various productions. And tonight we are featuring the two milestones, I would say. The first, of course, Molière's Imaginary Invalid, which toured for 4 years from 96 to the year 2000, all over Europe and back again several times, and India. And also the Magic Flute, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's great masterpiece. And many people involved. I would say hundreds of people have been involved, and some of them will tell the story for us.
So let us start with the Imaginary Invalid. Please enjoy this journey and enjoy the beautiful experiences and stories. The Imaginary Invalid, Theatre of Eternal Values. Sandy, you were really young when you started TEV, isn't it?
I was. I was 21, and I just finished my university degree in theatre, and I was considering sort of going forward in my professional career, and I got a call from Victor, who said, would you like to come to Belgium? Because we've Shamasaji started a theatre company, Theatre of Eternal Values, and there isn't actually a part for you in the play, but you can come and you can observe, and you can help out. And I was very excited to be part of anything, to learn about the profession. And so off I went on the ferry with Ken, got to Belgium to Everbeck, to the ashram, quite nervous, not knowing what to expect. I didn't actually know a lot of the yogis who were there. I think I knew Debbie vaguely. It turned out that they needed a part. There was a part available for me. We did the Imaginary Invalid, and it was Argon's brother, Berald, who turned into Beraldine. And that became my role. And we had an amazingly intense, beautiful, difficult, wonderful 6-week rehearsal period with the wonderful Catherine, who is our director, who'd studied under Lecoq, so it was a very particular kind of style. And as a very young sort of actress, I would say, who didn't believe in herself at all, because I'd only done my degree and that was it. It was a big challenge, but these 6 weeks we had, we were very much worked on in terms of learning how to perform. I mean, everyone else was professional actors, so for me, I always felt like I was catching up with everybody. But it was, my gosh, it was amazing. It was like a baptism of fire.
Yeah.
A baptism of fire with everything in the melting pot. And just incredible. I mean, what a journey, looking back on that beginning and then where we went from there. And I feel so grateful. I mean, I obviously won't go through everything, but I feel so grateful to have been allowed to have been part of this journey from such a young age, because I got to absorb different acting styles and schools from all the different members of TEV, from 7 different countries, or however many countries we were. So for me, I got a very global training.
Yeah.
on top of my original training.
Yeah, regarding that, I wanted to ask Nicolette, because you came, of course, from your theater tradition, theater culture, and you knew also about the Lecoq style, let's say. You've been growing into that. So basically, you find yourself like a fish in the water, or there was something that made it a bit more difficult for you?
It was, in some ways, it was really as a fish in the water, because I knew the style and what was asked a bit more maybe than the others, because I could definitely see that there were some doubts and some like, oh, what's going on here, what's going on here. And for me, that was a little bit easier, because I knew the way of working a little bit more than the others. It was, I remember this first weekend in Evenbeek with all these people. How much were we, 25? And that was also really interesting, with all these people and doing all these very different kind of styles from America. And there were people from Germany, and that was really, really great. I still remember that. Very, very interesting to meet yogis actually for the first time who were doing what I was doing. And I think it was one of the most amazing and life-changing things ever happening. It was just really beautiful to be able to do it. And for you?
I would like to direct that to Tim, because he was coming from a professional, of course, background as an actor, being on stage, and also I think you joined TEV a little bit later because of professional engagement, isn't it, Tim?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what I was. I think I was doing like Traviata and Bohème or something.
Yeah.
So I was working for another company at that time, traveling around. Yeah, it was a very different way of working to what I was used to, because even though I've done very sort of what are not particularly naturalistic pieces, we did them very naturalistically. So my background is more kind of filmic naturalism, is what I would say, even if it's not that naturalistic a piece. So to come at it from this angle with the Lecoq thing was quite an adjustment for me. Although I'd done little bits of it in the past, not to that extent. But it was great to sort of that ebullience, that enthusiasm, that sort of just joy of performing really comes through in that style, which is because it's so physical.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some crazy moments where you just grab onto an idea, mostly a physical idea, or sort of more of a comedic idea, and this would suddenly become the whole scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the story just went out of the window. I remember there was a whole scene became about Gita laughing, basically.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't even remember what the scene was about, but it became about Gita laughing, and this went on for about, I don't know, a good 5 minutes. So I think the first production, even the one in India, went on for about like 3.25, 3.5 hours.
Yes.
And I remember when we got to Edinburgh, we suddenly had to get it down to 2 hours. And I remember Catherine literally pulling her hair out, thinking, I can't throw any of it away.
I remember that. Yeah.
So we had to stuff this enormous play into 2 hours. I mean,
It was such a special time, and as you said, the enthusiasm of starting a project that
it was the joy of theatre, wasn't it? Basically,
yeah, but
that's what we established first. Just the sheer joy of being together as a company, being on stage, and just shining, basically. Yeah. In a relatively pure environment as well. As I said, we mostly rehearsed outside, from what I remember, in the grass in Cabela, and
between piglets and things,
wild boar,
animals, and
wildebeest going across the plain.
Please, George, tell us, you came from South Africa to TEV. I mean, why? What did you hear? How did it happen?
Well, I trained in various aspects of theatre for about 2 years, and then heard about Theatre of Eternal Values, and I must have emailed Victor and I believe he just went on vibrations, and I got the part of Thomas Dieperus.
Wow.
So, also, I joined after your India tour experience. So I was also joining in '97. I think I took the part that Tillman had been playing up to that point, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
So yeah, I didn't go through all the workshopping that the rest of you had gone through, and I just had to. Yeah, I mean, we did the practicing in the fields outside Voghera, actually.
Yeah.
I think we all stayed in your flat, and I remember I managed to crash Victor's car driving on the wrong side of the road.
Oh my God, I remember.
So, it was a new experience for me as well. Also, I mean, I was relatively new in Sahaj. I sort of third year in Sahaj, and sort of joining an international collective and seeing Shubhaji for the first time. I think my first time in Kabbalah was Mother's Day that year.
Oh.
So it was all a very new experience, with so many new faces. I had faxed a picture of myself, and Victor was looking for somebody that looked vaguely like a black and white photo. He obviously had no idea what I looked like from that, and I think I had recognized him from one of the, I suppose, Kabbalah videos from a previous year. So I introduced myself at the airport, and then we caught a train through to, I think he gave me a bunch of scripts, because you'd probably just gone through the process of rewriting and shortening the play, because I never joined it in the 3.5-hour version.
The script didn't get much shorter. It wasn't the script that needed shortening.
No, it was just the business.
The business
So,
in
yes.
between the words.
It's
Yes,
called spontaneity, you know. We got lots of that in it and work with that. So it was constantly changing.
You know, Shimataji actually remarked on that, because she, after the performance in Kabbalah, she'd seen it, and she said, you were very much, it was very funny. It was a very original take on the script, and you even went beyond it. The comedy went beyond the script. You know, she mused about that.
Again, you can have the clothes if you like. She looks for me. No. I know. I reproach myself beyond expression, but I have a partner now for coming to save my life, and Stella will allow me to say so. I'm willing to atone for it with a lifelong devotion.
Where's my son?
Yeah, Mama.
I think I have to talk very serious before I do this. Charlie!
Go. Just through the window, you said it.
Okay.
Huh? Okay?
No, just through the window.
For be sure I can hear you, because
Well, Dad, anything important?
there is no answer. There is no answer. You go and you sit down. Okay.
And Debbie, how was it to start a project like that? I mean, with yogis, then up to then, you know, you meet the yogis, you know, in a certain environment, in a certain atmosphere, and suddenly you meet all these yogi artists that allow themselves somehow to be very much themselves in their own character, and to cope with that melting pot, you know. I mean, it was quite something to be revealed like that to each other, and to grow this amazing TEV family, because that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I just come from India, so I'd been doing Indian classical vocal at Nagpur Academy, and then that's where I'd met Geeta, who had also been there studying, and she'd got a message from Victor saying we're forming a theatre company. So suddenly I just threw myself into that as well, because I trained as an actress and singer, but I'd been mostly concentrating on singing for the last few years because nothing was happening in the acting world for me.
in London. So I just I'd almost given up, I think. And then I suddenly heard about this Sahaj Theatre Company. I was like, oh, well, that's what I need to be part of. So I was there at the first seminar with Nicolette as well. And yeah, I think there were at least 20 people there. I can't remember now. And then straight into this rehearsal period. So Shimataji at the time was choosing the actors from our CVs, which Victor told us about later. So I had no idea that was happening. And then suddenly we're just thrown into this rehearsal period with people that you mostly don't know. And just trying to figure out all the different characters from different countries and all our quirks as actors, as well as yogis. You know, yogis are all different kettles of fish. And it was just remarkable to be part of something right from the beginning. I mean, because that had never happened for me before. So that in itself was amazing, just to be there.
Right, I'm going to forgive you, provided that you tell me the whole truth.
Oh, yes, Daddy.
Because here's my little finger, and it knows everything, and it will tell me at once if you lie.
And you won't tell my sister I told you?
Nope.
A man came into my sister's room while I was there.
Well?
I asked him what he wanted, and he said he was her music master.
Ah, so that's her little game. And after that?
Then my sister came.
Uh-huh. And?
She said, "Go, for heaven's sake, go! You'll drive me to despair."
Yes?
He didn't want to go.
Well, what did he say to her?
Woof, woof.
And there was so much laughing, you know, like Tim was saying, you know, we just were crazy sometimes. We just improvised in such a way that there was nothing left of the original script, and we just went with it because it was fun. And the original music as well. So we had Didier and Philippe. Yeah, so Didier was accordion and keyboards, and Philippe was percussion, and together they just created this backdrop for us, and we were just crazy on top of it.
You had to tell to all these people about this project. I mean, you had to bring the message, and
well, I was just amazed at how enthusiastic and prepared everybody was to drop everything and just come along. When do we start? You know, and it was overwhelming. The mere fact that Shimataji had, you know, commissioned this theatre company. This we didn't even know what we were going to perform at the beginning. You know, I mean, I asked her on an occasion how she would like us to work together, what style of performance she would like to have, was there any method she would you know, advise. And she said, you must meditate together and say the three mantras, my mantras, and put yourselves in bandhan, which means raising the kundalini and connecting to her and connecting to each other. And then everything else would stem from that in a sort of bubble of vibrations and good, you know, allowing space for her to guide us and inspire us, you know, so we wouldn't be mistaken in saying that she was our creative guide, our artistic director. I mean,
yes, absolutely. We could really feel the moment. You know, we were on stage rehearsing or just trying out scenes, and we could just feel when it was right, because then the vibration would just be there. So we really felt all the time that Shimataji was guiding us. Okay, yeah, like this is okay, like this is okay.
Come in, wife, come in.
Whatever is the matter, my dear?
Come and rescue me.
Oh, what is it that you're talking
My
about?
love.
My dearest.
They have been torturing me.
Oh, poor little hubby, what is it?
It's that horrible swanak of yours. She's becoming more impudent than ever.
Oh, don't excite yourself.
Oh, she has infuriated me, my love.
I wouldn't say a style evolved. You know, you can't say there was a single aesthetic and you can define the company by the way it performed, because it was Catherine in that performance. Other productions have had a different aesthetic stamp, if you like, or character or style. So we're not bound by that in any way or defined by that. I think what is defining is the joy that everybody's describing and the flow of energy, of vibrations through the actor as instruments, because they have a spiritual connection through the seventh center, the meditative process, and they are conductors or conduits of energy, dynamic spiritual energy that can then awaken something special in the audience.
It's very difficult to understand for a person that sees The Imaginary Invalid, for example, which was the first production the play the mother decided for us. We were expecting something, like maybe again the Mahabharata or the Ramayana or the story of Shakuntala. Theatre of Eternal Value came in a moment where we only knew the Indian culture in Saj, and only the music especially, or even when they were going to India, they went to see theatre in India. But what about the Western culture? What about all the rest? Because there is some part which is good as well. So it was a chance for the Western culture to manifest through theatre, and as Victor was saying, to include also the other arts and to give it a purpose, to be used as an instrument.
Nature, if we all but leave her to it, will find her own way out of the difficulties into which she's fallen. It is our restlessness. It's our own impatience which is the downfall of everything. Most men die of their remedies, not of their diseases.
But you must admit there are ways and means of assisting nature.
Good heavens, brother. It's a sort of delusion we all like to indulge in. Men have always entertained these credulous fancies because they flatter their self-importance and because they'd like to be true. When a doctor talks to you about aiding, relieving or assisting nature.
I mean, what's really interesting about the choice that Shimatadi made of Imaginary Invalid is it's actually about the middle way. It's about moderation. But at the same time, what the interesting kind of dynamic of the piece and the way we did it is that all the comedy is in the excess. So there's comedy in excess, but the message, which it always returns to, is about the moderation. It's about the Sahaj way. It's about being in the central channel. And it's about channeling that spirit, about being that spirit and manifesting it. And we'd have amazing moments where we couldn't decide whether you go in this direction or that direction. And they said, well, let's try that. And as soon as you did that, sometimes you would feel like an amazing vibration literally coming out of the Vishuddhi. Not so much Sarasvara, really focused on Vishuddhi, I mean, just radiating. And that is a clear indication we started to use the phrase divine director.
Yes. Yeah.
Because
a lot of it, I think, it was in the script already. Yeah, a lot of it was in the script, because having looked at some of the old clips, a lot of it was there in particularly Sandy's part in Beryl Dean, where she talks about, you don't need doctors. And he's going, well, what do I do if I'm ill? Nothing. That's her. She goes, nothing. It's all inside you. You heal yourself. And that was, the main crux of the message there. And that we certify him at the end as his own kind of doctor with this weird, let's not talk about the finale because it's bizarre. But also Purna's character, because the character didn't exist at all, and I don't think you even thought you were going to be part of it at first. When we first started rehearsing, you were just a young mother. You were there with Maxime as 4 years old, and just kind of there. And then suddenly this character of an angel developed. And
it's the Deus Ex Machina kind of thing. It's the divine force manifesting as a character.
Exactly. And her message was so clear in what that brought to the play. So, yeah, somehow the TEV style just kind of came from mixing so many things. We don't have somebody like that. Okay, we'll do this then, and it just kind of worked, Yeah,
allow yourself to be an instrument. I mean, to be used by the divine director.
Totally.
it evolved as time went on. So, I mean, as different people brought different things to different parts, what was interesting is how it actually changed the mix and changed the piece. It was always very interesting. So it was always a live, immediate thing. It wasn't a fixed thing, like you've made your video and it's going to remain like that for the rest of time.
How many people actually supported us? I mean, when we rehearsing in Austria, when we rehearsed Charlie's aunt in Avignon,
I know.
Oh yeah,
Sandy's family up in the Midlands,
In
Edinburgh.
We played also so much for the collectives, and they all wanted us and supported us. That was beautiful, so beautiful. This collective
it
thing
always
that it
was
did.
basically a traveling ashram.
Reinhard, how come you joined this adventure, and what happened when you knew about it at first?
That's a good question, and I can't answer it. I have no idea. I thought about it, knowing that a question like that would come up. I have no idea how I came in contact with TEV. The only thing I remember is seeing and hearing when I came to Sahaj, Victor singing in Cabela, and I thought, oh my God, what a voice. I want to connect with these people. I want to connect with actors in Sahaj Yoga. And I thought I'd never be worthy, I'd never be worthy of doing this. And how it actually came to this, I don't know. We did puja plays in Cabela, and then I was part of it. I found myself in Everbeek in a barn on a really exciting journey. You can say that loud. Yeah.
What is it that you remember of this first tour?
It's always a very exciting roller coaster of incredible joy, uplifting joy, and incredible moments of, I don't know, abysses that open up like, yeah. And this in a time frame of half an hour, incredible joy, and half an hour, a mountain of hatred in the room. Yeah. And you have people running around giving bandans. This mountain is gone and the joy is there, and we rehearsed again.
The purpose of our visit is ever to bring relief to our patients, never to incommode. So I come, sir. Great pleasure. Do you all that you do me? And our patient receiving us and two of you, sir. Of your life, the important was that. There was no alternative but to tell you now to show everything of being at your service. Thomas, come forward. Yes, Father. And make your compliments.
Shall I start with the father, Father?
Yes.
In you, I come to salute, acknowledge, cherish, and revere, to salute you as a second father.
Gita, also, you had amazing experience during this first period, and I would like to ask you what you remember of it.
Well, we all came from 7 different countries, the first cast of TEV. And we did not only bring knowledge from 7 different countries, we also brought egos and our luggage from 7 different countries. So that sometimes escalated. And we had all what Reinhard said. We had this crying and I'm packing my suitcase and leave. And we had the the slamming doors and everything you can imagine, what also normally happens in a theater group. But when we came to our meditation and we all sat together, all that was history. And the vibrations, they were so strong when we would meditate. And there was no doubt that Shimataji had a lot of attention on this project, and we were all friends again.
Toilette, Toilette, schönste Packcoiffeur. Toilette, Toilette, ich weiß es einfach nicht. Toilette, Toilette, if it's a dream, or if it's true, that I love you.
Grazie, niente. Malvinetti quando non capisco male. Luzzo, niente. Mentite, di parlarci sospiri a gente con gianni di figli di principio. Che cazzo per prova, che voi non si trova. Costanza la fede. Oh, quanto è pazza quella che vi crede. Come scladi larghi. Non mi innamorano! Quei sospettarmi di più non li chiamano, eh! Volgono, però, se arpino, misono! Devo stupiare il mio collino. Mi sembra il tigre. Colleghi da me! Che cazzo trovo? E voi non si trovano? Quanto mi passa con le grida? Quanto mi passa con le
Please, let her become my wife. Or a long-time relationship.
As Reinhard said, we had a lot of joy. We had laughters and we had so much fun. And we were poor, we were always broke, we had no money, but we were so happy most of the time. And it was an amazing, amazing experience.
Ken, how was it for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, to begin with, I can remember attending the initial workshops where the really true birth of TEV were these workshops. I think they were in Everbeek, I believe. Yeah. And I remember coming, for the imaginary invalid, I remember coming with a real crutch, a real stick, because I had just dislocated my knee. And, but I loved what was going on. It was just such a mix from every direction. And I somehow ended up playing the actual imaginary invalid, Argon. And then I'm really glad that everybody has spoken about all the friction and everything, because I was afraid, we were going to be expected to give a rose-colored version, but no, it was really, they talk about you can't make an omelet without breaking eggs. Boy, did we break some eggs.
Oh my God, yes.
I remember, I was one of those ones who came with nice big ego, because and I'm not saying that in a really self-deprecating way, but I thought I understand farce and I understand, comedy and all this. I had these ideas that I came with, and I came with the director, with Catherine Gruyer, for quite a while. I couldn't understand what she was asking me to do. I thought, I know how to do this, just let me do it in the right way. And she was asking me to do the most absurd things. Now, the interesting thing about that was that years earlier at the Edinburgh Festival, I had seen a company called Teatro de Complicité. Right. And I thought it was one of the best things I had ever seen. And then later on, I finding out that Catherine her work was based on Jacques Lecoq, who I believe is connected with all of that. But I didn't know that. And I didn't know any of the methodology behind it. So this was all so strange and foreign to me. And so I think I was putting up the defenses and all this. And then something
clicked at some point. I think because of our meditations, because of the vibrations, this very strange atmosphere which was out of my comfort zone, and we were, locked away in this barn in Everbake. I remember we used to show up in the morning and the door would close, and that would be the last sunlight we would see for hours, and we were just immersed in this world. But something clicked, and I began to realize what a genius Catherine was, because she created something completely outside my expectations. And that was the best thing that I ever took away from TEV, is surrender to things that don't comply with your expectations, and you can't imagine what the rewards can be.
To add waves to the ocean and stars to the sky. My Father in heaven, my mother the earth, they made me a man. They gave me my birth. But you, great men of learning, have opened the door and made me a doctor, which is so much more.
In the end, we had a product that was absolutely unique and beautiful. And as far as the vibrations concerned, they were through the roof. Everywhere we went, we were playing for students here. And, we went to these terrible places. But there was a place, I think, in Austria that once had been a Nazi headquarters of some sort. And and I think at that place we played on a stage about the size of this table that I'm sitting on now. And it was like 12 of us all squeezed in and all this. And we gave, whatever version of the play we could with all the, and it always left the students going, wow. And we got so many letters. I've actually got a stack of letters preserved from the students who just, some of the things they said were so deep that they really got something out of it. And none of us could understand it, really, not on the brain level.
I mean, India was as amazing as Everbeck was. You know, there were less nervous breakdowns in India, but the obstacles, the outside obstacles were incredible. I mean, Martin Moore, the stage designer of Imaginary Invalid, is a big, strong man who can cope with many things. At this day, after he has built the third version of the stage design, and the thing burned down in the morning, I had him crying in my arms, weeping, you know, like 10 minutes, this strong, big man. After these 10 minutes, he said, okay, let's do it. And went to the stage and with some Indians built the most wonderful stage design I've ever seen out of bamboo and out of yellow saris that were along the bamboos. It was so beautiful. I remember also rehearsing on the roof of Vashi. Such a beautiful atmosphere, you know. You heard the bells of the temples, you heard the muezzin of the mosque. Then we were in the middle doing European theater.
Ah! Here's my wife! This is Mr. Beatrice's son, my love.
Madam, rightly has heaven bestowed on you the title of mother, since in your visage we behold...
I am delighted to be in time to have the honor of seeing you, sir.
In your visage we behold... In your visage... You interrupted me in the middle of the sentence, and I don't know how to continue now.
Keep it for another time, Thomas. You want your pills?
Later.
Good.
The thing that will go down in history is that Her Holiness Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, the greatest spiritual figure of all time, created a theatre company and thus blessed the arts forever.
So thank you so much for all of this, and so we hope to meet together very soon in person and to be able to continue this journey through 100,000 production more.
changes and different variations in music, and music was a big part of it. But music was the real protagonist in the next big wave that came from Austria with its great tradition of classical music, and possibly and probably the greatest composer of all time, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. And this production went on from Europe, from Austria, it went on to New York, and Kanna Johari involved hundreds of yogi artists, scene builders, choreographers, musicians, and they will tell their story now.
Yes, and before to get to the magic flute, I would like just to conclude something on the Molière, because this amazing journey brought, again, tears to our eyes because of this such intense experience that we had. And at the time, we had our two kids with us, Maxime and Leo. Maxime was 3.5 and Leo was 6. And they would come on the parading in Edinburgh with us, so part of the company. And reminded us actually of the way Molière and Goldoni were doing theater, bringing all the family in the carriage. So really beautiful and really full of emotions and a very rich, intense experience, and stay in our hearts. So from the heart, I would like to thank really Shri Mataji for this creation, because you understand slowly in the years, and especially going in these 25 years, how much Theatre of Eternal Values gave us as artists, as a family of artists as well, and how much this company helped us to grow, the whole lot. And as Vito was saying, we're coming to a big production, an opera, a lyric production, starting from the desire of the Austrians, who else, from the Mozart music that is throwing light in the magic flute, the story that will be displayed very soon. Also, there are another huge journey, because from Europe we went to America and we found ourselves in a very kind of intensive moments and obstacles to resolve. And my personal experience of that is that I was at the time teaching in a dance academy in Italy, and we had our end of the year performance, and I had to be here, but I was in America, so my boss said, you have to be here for that performance. So what did I do? I went in one day up and down from America to Italy and then back again for the performance of the magic flute. And this was amazing. This also again shows the enthusiasm that we all had to be part of such amazing project. And now let us hear this beautiful and very special story about the magic flute.
Sometimes the words fail to express the feelings of great gratitude for all of you, for putting up this collective effort and such a beautiful, concentrated work is a real piece of art. Actually, the way you have brought in that very, very beautiful piece of art to life, I feel so much grateful to you that you are all Sahajogis. And to Sahajogis to perform this kind of magnificent, tremendous art piece, I don't know whom to thank really. Because now I can see our future. We'll be going all over the world taking this music. It may not be this one, maybe another one. But you are all such a great group that you can really surpass everybody else who are having all these operas everywhere.
1 year before 9/11, 2001, more than 100 yogis from all over the world met in the Hamsa chakra of the universe for a mission, a challenge, a vibrational roller coaster, a victory. You want to know more about this story? So, see, hear, and feel what this is all about. A young man named Prince Tamino runs through the dark wood, pursued by a dragon. Just as it rears up to devour him, 3 mysterious ladies appear and slay the dragon with their fierce battle cry. So begins Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart's Die Zauberflöte, or the Magic Flute. This fantasy singspiel, a kind of folk opera with music and dialogue, premiered in 1791 in Vienna. Though it may seem like a childish fairy tale, this intrinsicate opera is full of submersive symbolism, and it is now regarded as one of the most influential operas in history. Tamino's running with the dragon is only the start within this journey. The 3 women summon their leader, the Queen of the Night. She in turn sends Tamino and her birdcatcher Papageno on a quest to rescue her daughter Pamina from the evil sorcerer Sarastro. And to help him on his journey, she gives him the super powerful magic flute. Tamino eventually finds Pamina at Sarastro's temple. But behind enemy lines, Pamina and Tamino learn that they are on the wrong side. The Queen of the Night actually wants to plunge the world into darkness. Everything what Tamino thought he knew was wrong, filling him with doubt and confusion. The Sun King, Sarastro, actually stole the daughter of the Queen of the Night to get her to accompany Tamino. He wants their souls to evolve towards enlightenment. There are also 3 boys who represent innocence and wisdom to guide Tamino and Papageno on their path. So a new quest begins for Tamino and Pamina. They must pass 3 trials of wisdom, and only then can the day vanquish the night. Helped by the flute's magic power, the 2 youth overcome these trials, and the queen's attempts to sabotage them. Even Papageno, who is not interested into evolving towards a higher goal, finally gets what he desired most. A young woman which is like him, a Papagena. Pamina and Tamino finally get initiated into the temple, having restored balance to the kingdom. How did it all start?
I was the conductor of the Magic Flute in 2000, and it started even before, because we had a Magic Flute highlight performance in Cavella already in 1999.
We were just having the idea. And then we just wanted to do it because we loved the project, and this love infected so many people that in the end we were around 100 people in New York.
Absolutely
and
crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. In 1 year's time, not even.
that is the very chicken. That is very crazy chicken. I have got to strand of 20 men. You have 10 seconds to run away. 1, 2, 3, 17, 21, 40, 50.
The main interesting thing is that you have two characters like Tamino and Papageno. And Tamino is a person who is the perfect king, the perfect human being, you can say, yeah. And Papageno is the one who is not perfect at all. He's just coming from the heart, but both are in a way able to connect to a higher level. And in a way, both things, Tamino and Papageno, or Papagena also, I mean, they are in our being as well. So you can be Tamino and you can be Papageno. And sometimes it's important to be Tamino, and sometimes it's important to be Papageno.
Each figure in this magic flute is not necessarily only dark side and bright side. Every figure has an aspect in themselves that's I should say is a positive aspect, and has also aspects in them that are questionable. Let's put it this way.
The musical archetypes in the magic flute. Would you like to speak about that?
Yeah, I mean, in the magic flute, there are all the archetypes we have in our chakras, like the innocent children, the 3 boys, and there is the Virgin, the Pamina, there is the Adiguru, the great master and teacher, Sarastro is even called after Zarathustra or Zoroaster. And there's this 7 sun symbol, like the 7 chakras. There's the water and fire task, where you need the flute to bring the balance between fire and water, and they only can go through as like husband and wife, not a male person or a female person could enter this or could go through this fire and water, but they together they can. So this like the left side, the right side, and the balance with the flute is there.
Every actor needs a costume to establish his role in the play.
From the beginning on, we knew that dramaturgy told us make this what Austria know and can very good, and we knew this was music. And dramaturgy said, make the Zauberflöte, magic flute, and we began to think about, because it's not so easy to make costumes just like this. It was not a school theater. It should be for a real opera. So we were thinking about what is the sense from the magic flute. It was forgiveness, and it was love. And it is love, because when Sarastro sings in our holy halls, there is no aggressive things, and there is nothing which we cannot reach as a human being. So
what can we reach as a human being? I thought by myself, there must be costumes which makes this magic and makes them magic that the people who look and who hear the music feel this magic and feel that only love and compassion can help us to save the world, because this is the sense of Magic Flute.
Every drama needs a location to narrate the story. Then it was also clear that we wouldn't have stagehands available for the scene changes. That means that we had to create a system which was easy to move by the actors themselves. The basic structure of the decoration consisted in a box with horizontal rails where we hanged all the decoration pieces. There have been all the stage frame with beautiful decorations, and there was a Kundalini with the Mother Goddess in the center, and all the gods like Shiva and Ganesha, but in an Egyptian style, painted in the tympanon. There have been the 3 gates from the temple. There have been 2 sculptures of Isis and Osiris. Then we arrived to the ashram. There was Linda Williams, Mark Taylor. There was Linda Williams, who borrowed us her car every day so that we could drive from the ashram to Lotus Workshop in Patterson. In Patterson, we have constructed everything. We have passed about 10 to 12 days like frenzy, from morning AM to 8-9 PM in the evening, with 1 hour lunch break to build everything. We constructed the tympanus, the columns, everything, the palm trees. We mounted only the upper half of the aluminium truss box to fix the rails, to work on them and to raise everything later. After 3 weeks of construction in New York, the set was moved north to the rehearsal place.
Which is such a far-fetched place, away from the madding crowd. It's such a beautiful place and which has vibrations.
Then I remember in Kanachahari, there was nothing yet. There was the hangar, there was a construction of 5 to 3 meters approximately, just the wood structure cladded with marine plywood on the outside, the office. You entered and there was a big heater, a counter, a long shelf, long as the entire wall, which held a computer and another computer, internet device, TV. Let's say it seemed like a spy station, don't know, like the FBI, which is going to, from North Pole. From the North Pole they prepared something. So then, did it rain already? It rained. And the mud of Kanachahari, I still have it on the back. And I never managed to take it off, like printed.
When we came to Kanachahari, it was raining. And so I thought, what should I do with 160 costumes in the rain?
That you at one point gave up on shoes in these conditions because you lost one or something?
Oh, I don't remember that. I just remember that we all went and bought boots in that supermarket, and they all ran out of boots, and was like everybody was fighting for the boots.
We were sleeping in a round tent, the ladies in wood chips.
and we were bathing in the pond, and we were rehearsing in the hangar with wood chips. And I mean, for the opera singers, it was hard because of their voice. They have had challenges as you have as a normal actor, and it was very tiring in a positive, wonderful way. It was very, very funny. It was it changed a lot in us, I suppose. And there were a lot of magic moments. And also I have to say that this land around Kanajohari is so extremely beautiful. For me, it's the most beautiful land I've seen. Yeah, so beautiful. It's green and it's blue.
After a few weeks of rehearsal in Kanajahari, it is time to move down to New York, into the theater. The Riverside Theatre is integrated into the Riverside Church, which has been built from 1927 to 1930, like a copy of the cathedral in Chartres. Out of 4 theatres, it had been chosen to be the best to host our production of The Magic Flute.
So the desire of Mother that it should happen in that time in New York, and it was a special place 1 year before the 9/11.
Exactly.
We had to close to that, and the world changed after 9/11. Yeah, it is. So I think to bring so many yogis to that place before, I don't know, maybe it had a meaning or not, I don't know.
Yeah. But for sure, we actually were going through the theme of the Magic Flute. We were going through an ordeal for the mother, to please the mother. And I think for me, this was the most important thing. And of course, it was a statement. It was a worship of Sri Krishna in the land of Sri Krishna.
It was joyful, but once I think I was on my limit, and I said to Srimataji, Srimataji, when I have to die now, I cannot do anything, so I will die. Because it's such a big work, I cannot do anything, so I will die. Okay, it's also nice to die in the Papa Flöte production.
5 days have passed since we are here in this theatre. On Monday, we came with a truckload of decoration. On Tuesday, all the company came in and we did first rehearsals with the costumes and musicians. On Wednesday, we did complete rehearsals of decoration, costumes, and musicians, and the singers. On Thursday, we had the first run-through complete rehearsal and second on the afternoon. On Friday, another run-through. In the afternoon, we prepared everything for tonight's show. It is evening time. Srimataji is sitting out there in the audience. And we are ready for the curtain to open. We are super excited.
We saw Srimataji sitting in the audience, enjoying the Magic Flute. We all were a part of that universal game that happened. And in complete collective brotherhood, you were also there. Everybody was there. Just it was oneness. It was just to please the mother, to please Sri Krishna, and to pray for the benevolence of this beautiful country of America. And at the end, Srimataji was really pleased.
So immediately in the theater was more silence, and of course we thought everything will work out.
Something that you can only, if you're lucky, have once in your lifetime.
It is this great collective work that made things really awesome. Here in New York, we performed 5 times. The first time on Friday evening with Sri Mataji, Saturday 2 times, afternoon and evening, Sunday 2 times, afternoon and evening. Now it is Monday. We load the truck, board the buses and the cars, and head towards Kanajihari once more, where we play a last time the magic flute in front of Sri Mataji in the occasion of Krishna Puja evening program for all the Sahaja Yogis.
Schulz.
What a remarkable occasion. What an incredible collective phenomenon. And before Sri Mataji Nirmala Devi, it's one of my lasting regrets that I wasn't able to make that performance. But you were there, weren't you?
What was it
like?
It was such an amazing experience, and that I wouldn't have want to miss. And as I said before, I tried everything possible not to miss anything. And it's true what Francesco was saying before, that mat of Kanajihari, you never really take it completely out of yourself. I remember also sleeping on the kind of cardboard kind of stiff things on the mat because I was so floating. You wouldn't know where you were going to wake up. But the joy of this immense collective work under all aspects, as Gunther told us so beautifully, that I really have to thank you, dear Gunther, for this beautiful telling of every details of the set, of the story in itself, and why it's been chosen, this story, in the specific, and the meaning, and all this engagement from the costumes, the music again, a bigger, even bigger engagement. So we started with the Imaginary Invalid, and then it became huge with this magic flute. And it was actually also the beginning of the Divine Symphony Orchestra, as we saw there playing, that then became part of our Culture of the Spirit Festival.
That's right. And Mother actually gave it the name, gave the orchestra the name, the Symphony, the Divine Symphony. To Mani Emanuel Schultz, who was the conductor.
But we don't want to discover all the secrets of these 3 days, because there will be many more productions to be seen, stories, experiences, and part of production that you can enjoy. There is still lots of presents to come. But tonight we would like to end with a beautiful gift.
Well, yes, it was born in a time when this gift was particularly necessary in the lockdown period. And it was to give everybody courage and faith to come through it, and that they weren't alone, they weren't forgotten. And it was an expression of the heart to all the hearts out there. And it also highlights the tremendous community around Theatre of Eternal Values, that Shri Mataji blessed all the art forms, and so many artists from different disciplines, different parts of the world, different traditions, musicians, singers, dancers, united in this great song, Bayakaya Taya, which was sung in times of difficulty during the struggle for independence of India. Shri Mataji's family, we heard, sang it. And it, to give courage and to, pursue that peaceful battle for freedom.
Yes, and also to renew the value, one of the main value that all the artists have in Theatre of Eternal Values, and this is the value of using the arts to connect to the divine. And Bayakaya Taya, if you belong to God, what is there to fear? And so we can have all kind of difficulty as artists, and it happens, but the big vision and the feeling that we are here to manifest the grace of God, to manifest the Spirit inside of us, makes us feel one, protected in this oneness. And with this, tonight, we would like to leave you with this production of United Artists, Give Eternal Values, Bayaka.
Bayakaya Taya.
Bayakaya Taya. Bayakaya Taya.
When we belong to God, what is there to fear? forget everything in the divinity, and we become completely lost in God. When we belong to God, what is there to fear? The world is grateful to Him for His blessings. But still, He doesn't belong to the world because He is in a completely detached state. When we belong to God, what is there to fear?
Go.
Thank you so much to all these beautiful artists and to this amazing production in celebration of God.
And we would like to mention that there was a slight change in the programming, because we feel that, you know, all the branches of this beautiful tree, Theatre of Eternal Values, need to have their time and their moment, and these large scale productions have become rather long as well in terms of time. And so, but we promise that the TEV in Canada documentary will be the first to run tomorrow. We hope that you will join us for that and many, many more for these very, very beautiful productions, particularly continuing this vocation for comedy, which typifies the working in Canada.
And also all the stories and all the details about the journey will unfold one after the other. So please follow us, stay with us, and enjoy this journey that will bring us to feel more near together and to have an understanding of what Theatre of Eternal Values is.
And most importantly, because Theatre of Eternal Values was created by Shri Mataji Nirmala Devi, we would like to share with everybody all the guidelines, all the moments, all the stories where she particularly, blessed us with her presence, with her advice on how to build this company to what it is today.
Thank you so much and have a good evening. Hope to see you tomorrow and the day after. Jai Shri Mataji.
Jai Shri Mataji.